Do you love the Toyota Crown Signia or the Subaru Outback, but you won't buy either because you also love electricity? Boy, do I have a car for you. This is the Toyota BZ Woodland, and while I don't like the name, I think we should unpack the name because that will tell you most everything about the car. BZ is Beyond Zero. That's Toyota's nomenclature for their electric vehicles ever since their first one of recent, the BZ4X. And Woodland, well, I guess this looks kind of woodsy, don't you think? Toyota's own marketing video for this car said, built for adventure. So let's take it over the river and through the woods to see if it really is built for adventure. Or should I say over the river and through the woodland? No, that's a stretch. Let's talk design and let's start right up front. This is Toyota's signature hammerhead type thing that we've seen on other vehicles like the Prius and the other sister vehicle to this, the BZ and the CHR. I like the design. I don't love it on a vehicle this big. I think it's, to me, speaks a bit more smaller, efficient vehicle. This one is, well, it's still eco-friendly, being electric, but it's not quite the most efficient. We also have a light bar going all the way across because apparently that means futuristic, and every EV seems to have that. Below the light bar, we have this huge front fascia instead of a grille, which does scream EV to me. I like that, but this is a huge magnet for rock chips, or in this case, bugs. And all the way at the bottom, we do have, I guess what's trying to go for a bit of an off-road looking approach angle panel thing. It works. On the side here, we have fake vents, don't love that. And then, holy cladding, Batman. This is where this car really separates itself. You have kind of black plastic cladding everywhere around the wheel. In fact, the wheel's probably intimidated at this point. Cladding is functional though. It will prevent rock chips from hitting the paint because it's just hitting plastic in this case. And it's meant to evoke an off-road spirit. I think they've maybe taken it too far. You know, Subaru's like, hey, we love cladding, and then Toyota's like, hold my beer. So while the front end looked like the Toyota Crown Signia, the rest of it to me feels like a Subaru Outback. And I like that. I actually like the design of the Outback. I like a long, sort of low wagon-like vehicle. You can see this has longer wheelbase than some of the other vehicles in Toyota's EV lineup, and 18-inch wheels. That's really your only option. An option on the wheels is whether you want all-terrain tires or all-season tires. Fortunately, either one is free. Well, they come baked into the price, so you can choose your adventure. Sitting above the car is kind of a ladder roof rail system, which is also standard on the BZ Woodland. It allows you to put even more weight and more things on top than you would the other cars. That's pretty cool, but keep in mind whatever you do throw up there will reduce your range, which it already doesn't have a lot of range to begin with. If you're curious, this is about 6 inches longer than the BZ, which gives you a bit more space inside, and also, like I said, increases the proportions to a level I like, and there's about 8.3 inches of ground clearance. That's not really class leading, but it's actually decently competitive. Around back, we have, whoa, would you look at that, another light bar. I'm curious, in the future, will we consider these light bars still futuristic, or will they then be something, a relic of the past? Right below the light bar, you have a tiny Toyota logo, probably one of the smallest I've seen. And that's pretty funny to me because I think the back of this car looks more like a Subaru Outback than even the new Subaru Outback. I think this looks better. You have a bit of a roof spoiler situation, a rear wiper, which is standard. You can brag about that to your Porsche friends who have to pay for theirs. And then down here, a nice Woodland badge. This whole back design is fairly boxy, much boxier than the CHR that I'm also looking at out here in California today. And that helps aid, well, the cargo capacity, and I think makes it look better. I just think big SUVs should be boxy. It's functional. Opening the back, we can see where that boxiness has really helped out. Now we have about 30 cubic feet behind the second row. Not a ton more than the CHR, which really surprises me, but I think the packaging of this actually makes it much more usable. When you fold the second row down, you get even more capacity, and I would say you could probably even car camp in this thing. If only it had a camp mode. But hopefully some of that extended length goes to the second row of seating. Behind all of our camera bags for scale, you can also see there's also a bit of a sub trunk. And here we have an EV SE, or the Charger as many people call it. But fun fact, that's actually not the Charger. The Charger is built into the car. So when you plug it in at home, that's just delivering current from your house. And that will charge your car up in about 7 hours. Pretty decent, pretty fantastic actually for home charging. Overnight, wake up, full tank. By the way, standard power folding tailgate, also great. Jumping into the back, yes, definitely more spacious than the CHR and even the BZ. This is actually a great place to sit back and lounge. I have plenty of headroom, being 6 foot tall. I'm also sitting behind myself, by the way. I would totally, happily take this on a road trip from a backseat perspective. You even have heated rear seats and USB ports, vents back here for climate control. Fantastic. No separate zone of climate control, no ventilated seats. Those would be cherry on top. That is simply wishful thinking at this point. Nice panoramic glass roof, which will help the back feel a bit less cave-like, but right now it's 80 degrees, so I'm gonna leave that closed. You can brag to your Tesla friends that your panoramic glass roof closes. All right, I kind of mentioned this car had a bit of an identity crisis, but that ends here. The interior is distinctly, obviously Toyota. Even Subaru's new EVs look like Toyota. Comfort-wise, you have soft tex, aka kind of a fake leather seat as standard, fantastic. And you also have a decent amount of amenities such as heated steering wheel and heated seats up here as standard. But opting for the premium package gives you things like ventilated seats and a radiant heater right here, which is nice. This does not have that package, which means no glove box. Kind of surprises me. Instead of a glove box, you have this kind of dual opening center console. I can open it from this side or this side, which is cool, functional, but also means some rattles, if that concerns you. In front of that, you have your little push to shift thingy. Not sure what to call that, not sure what they call that, but it's push down, go left for reverse, right for drive, just to clarify. It's one of those things you can get used to, but I think they just reinvented the shifter for no reason. Then you have your buttons for, say, X mode, to remind you this is co-developed with Subaru. Fantastic all-wheel drive system, fantastic control. This thing does great off-road, we'll get into that later. In front of that, you have multiple wireless phone chargers. 2 to be exact, it's awesome. But they will definitely cause your phone to sling around as you're taking curves at speed. And then it will continuously attempt to start the charge, your phone will overheat. That's just a whole predicament right there. But it's cool to have them. If you're driving consistently and smoothly on the highway, your phone will probably stay put. Towering above that is this giant 14-inch screen, which is cool, looks good, but it contains all of the climate control, which is a bummer for you button enthusiasts out there. No functional way to do your climate other than tapping on the screen. It works okay, not the most responsive screen, unfortunately, and it has maps and music and things like that, but this car will not actually route you to chargers if you're doing a road trip. That doesn't seem super adventurous to me. I think most people will use CarPlay, Android Auto, which are both standard, which are both fantastic. I think that's what I would do myself as well. Then we have the steering wheel and gauge cluster, which is another thing they decided to reinvent. You have the gauge cluster above the steering wheel, almost out there like a heads-up display. Not really my favorite implementation, but it kind of works. It just means you have to have the steering wheel low enough to see the gauges, which is often lower than I would like it. So it definitely is a bit dependent on your torso height, I guess. And though this screen does feel pretty modern to me, the one in front of the driver feels a bit more like 2007. The steering wheel itself feels really nice, has a lot of buttons on it. Perhaps it's an overwhelming amount of buttons, but I think it's something that you can learn very easily. So let's go drive and see how this thing operates. Driving the BZ Woodland. Now, it just came out of the Toyota CHR, the smaller, more sporty sibling, and I find it so ironic that this bigger behemoth, comparatively speaking, has so much more power and a faster 0 to 60 time. 375 horsepower. That's a lot. That's kind of awesome. And it also means 0 to 60 in like 4.4 seconds, but also a bit of a delay on the throttle response. That's interesting. Honestly, anything under 5 seconds, plenty fast for a family or cargo or gear hauler. All that horsepower is provided by a 74.7 kilowatt hour battery. Same battery used in all of Toyota's EVs thus far. And that's kind of the small elephant in the room. Literally, it's too small for this size of vehicle. Many other vehicles a bit smaller than this actually have bigger batteries when you're looking at the competition. So I was a bit surprised to see that. However, on the flip side, it means it's a little lighter weight, and I think not everyone needs extensive range. But the range has been the focus of many critics. Only 260 miles if you opt for the all-terrain tires, and on these all seasons, it still only extends to 280. There's no way to hit 300 miles in this thing. I mean, there's always a way. You can drive really slow, but everyone behind you will hate you. The charging speed is also not class leading, unfortunately. It peaks at 150 kilowatts, which is not amazing, but from 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes at a regular DC fast charger, that's pretty good, pretty decent. It's on par with, say, a Tesla, for example. However, with the small range, that 10 to 80 means it's a smaller chunk of range you're getting back for your road trip. And as you would hope, this does have all-wheel drive as standard. It's actually pretty easy to memorize the specs on this vehicle because there's only one trim. It's just, do you want the premium package or not? I would say yes. It's hot outside. I wish I had ventilated seats turned on right now. I do hear a decent amount of wind noise coming from the raised roof rails above my head. And sure, it's not something you'd probably notice if you were in a RAV4, for example, because you have an engine and other things going on around you. But in an electric vehicle, those other noises start to stand out more. Bear in mind, I'm on the all-season tires right now. If I had the all-terrain tires, I'd probably hear even more road noise. But I think the suspension tuning, the steering feel, everything's more than adequate for your average run around town, maybe even an occasional road trip vehicle. But again, the range, not ideal for road trips, and the fact that this car won't tell you where to charge on road trips, really not ideal. I hope they fix that either at or close to the launch. Something else common in many EVs is one-pedal driving, and that's unfortunately not an option here. You do have 5 levels of regen, which you can select through the paddles. I think that's nice. It's nice to have at least the option to adjust it, but I'd rather have all the options and turn it fully off or fully on. I personally like one-pedal driving, but people who may be coming from a combustion RAV4 are not used to it, and they'll probably feel right at home in this. The seats are definitely comfortable. The steering position is decent, but once again, I have to look over the steering wheel, almost peer into the driver display because the steering wheel is up high enough to where I want it. Toyota's SafetySense 3.0 is also standard on this car. I'm using it right now. It's actually keeping us in the lane, and it feels like a pretty competent system. It's standard, and it's much improved over the original system the BZ4X came on, and I think it'd be really useful on roads like this, in stop-and-go traffic, and of course, the road trips if you decide to give that a try. You can brag to your friends in their BMW X5s that your car has standard lane centering and theirs doesn't. So, as the BZ Woodland name would imply, you should be able to take this into the woods, and you honestly can. It has Subaru's X mode, which is awesome. Subaru is known for incredible all-wheel drive performance, and you have basically that system here. It's excellently calibrated for all sorts of undulations on minor trails. You just have the limitation of ground clearance and, not the most aggressive wheels and tires, although I think the all-terrains that come with the 18-inch wheels are going to be pretty decent for any average fire road or even small approach trail. This, of course, has hill descent control, and yeah, just having Subaru's X mode means you are truly going to be capable as long as you're not scraping on the rocks. So pricing starting in the low $40,000 range, that's actually not too bad for a vehicle this size and a vehicle that's fully electric, but I wouldn't quite say it's built for adventure. In my head, it's capable of some adventure, but you still have the range limitations and frankly the ground clearance limitations that many other more adventure-driven vehicles will be more proficient at. But for an average family hauler experience, driving around town, charging at home, I think this could be a really compelling option. If you're in the market for an EV family hauler, or maybe even some of Toyota's gas cars, we have lots of options over on kbb.com if you want to read the reviews, and of course, existing reviews on the YouTube channel. Until then, thanks for watching. I like this thing, but I think I like the CHR better, so I'm going to go back and find one of those, finish out my day. In front of that, you have your little gauge. That's what I get for trying to work on the weekend.
This is a good blooper reel.
That's not a gauge. Woodland Drive in it. Oh man. Hopefully this car drives better than this camera is stuck.